Good afternoon, participants. This is your host Raghu Haritas from Economic Times, welcoming you all to today's live webinar on driving growth through reliable and faster catalog management. Listing product catalogs on marketplaces has become a priority for brands to expand their global reach, thereby increasing their customer base and revenues. Managing catalogs across channels and overcoming the challenges of updating and image processing is central to a brand's growth and its omnichannel strategy. Allow me to introduce the speaker of this webinar, Mr. Sachin Jain, who is the product manager for automated catalog listing at Vinculum.
Good
Mr.
afternoon.
Sachin Jain has over 15 years of experience in the information technology and services industry. He is a strong IT professional skilled in requirement analysis, process automation, and product development using agile methodologies. Welcome, Mr. Jain.
Thank you very much.
And in
And
this
thank you
webinar,
everyone for joining
Mr.
in.
Jain will share his knowledge on how to overcome challenges of catalog management on the marketplaces. There will be a Q&A round after the presentation is over. However, please feel free to post your questions anytime during the webinar. Over to you, Mr. Sachin.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for joining in. As you can see, this is our agenda for the discussion today. We'll be going over a cataloging solution that Vinculum has, which is centered around problems that people face generally when publishing their catalog to multiple different platforms, especially marketplaces, but could also be their own websites on Magento or Shopify, or even a custom platform. Okay. So, brief introduction about the company Vinculum. Vinculum is a software company that is centered around providing solutions to the retail ecosystem. So, we help to connect the various dots in this entire retail ecosystem. You could be a retailer, you could be a 3PL or a seller on a marketplace, you could even be a marketplace. And we have solutions built around the needs of these different players within this whole ecosystem. Okay. These are certain industry recognitions that we have won over the years. We are a preferred Amazon Web Services partner. We have won the Red Herring Award, so we've been nominated in the top 100 for Red Herring. Our solutions have consistently been listed in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and that has been a trend over the past 5 years. And right now, we're the only company in Southeast Asia which has solutions listed under Gartner Magic Quadrant. That was just a brief intro of who we are and what we have done over the past decade or so. Quickly jumping into our agenda for the day, which is e-commerce and our solutions centered around the e-commerce industry. Just taking a quick glance at what is the trend around e-commerce, right? If we see from the last 5 years, the business in e-commerce or the total revenue in e-commerce sales has nearly jumped 5 times, right? If you look at 2014, the total revenue for e-commerce was 1,336 billion US dollars, but that has jumped to 3,453 billion US dollars in 2019 and is set to go up to 5,000 billion US dollars by 2021. That's a very good growth rate, and there are a lot of people who are interested in participating in this growth journey through selling on multiple e-commerce platforms. That could be marketplaces, that could be their own websites that they build. Now, central to selling on any website or any marketplace is essentially your catalog. What is it that you're selling? What is the price point that you're selling at? What are the competitive products that you compete against? And what are the different USPs of your own catalog? So getting this catalog published on the marketplaces or on the different platforms and getting it published accurately and in time can have a dramatic effect on the kind of sales that you get. Okay? So accuracy of content and the speed at which this content is updated, the quality of images, all of these matters a lot in the number of sales that you eventually get. Okay? Of course, there are other angles like fulfillment of this whole process. But of course, getting the catalog uploaded is the first step in getting your sales growth. Now, if we look at the various categories of products that you have on e-commerce, almost 50% of the products or almost 50% of items that you get on e-commerce platforms are related to fashion items. These could be your apparels, these could be fashion accessories, it could be anything related to what you wear or what you use to style yourself. There are other categories like mobiles, mobile accessories, home and furnishing requirements, FMCG, and of course, there are a lot of SKUs there, but we are talking about the new SKUs that are published to these marketplaces or to these platforms recurringly, right? So 50% of new SKUs are created in fashion categories, and that is where the greatest challenge lies because these fashion categories, they are generally centered around collections and seasons, right? So if you have a new season coming up, which is let's say a spring summer collection, and that has a shelf life of maybe 3 months. Now it depends on how fast you can get this catalog uploaded on these platforms. If you take about 15 days to get that catalog uploaded, it means you've lost out on 15 days of sales, right? So it's very essential to get this catalog the moment this catalog is ready to be uploaded. It's the faster you can get this to be on the website, the more number of days you have for your eventual sales. Again, this is a brief snapshot of the kind of items that you get on Amazon.com by category. So if you can see, maximum number of items on Amazon.com. This is .com. So the maximum number of items on Amazon are for clothing and fashion accessories, and that's about 150 million items there. Okay, there are obviously other categories, but nobody is quite as close to fashion. And the reason why we are stressing this is because the platform or the solution that we will discuss today is centered around needs of people who have new seasons, new collections which need to be uploaded on these platforms every month or every 3 months. Right? Those are the people who really face a challenge, and those are the people who really want a solution that can help them to scale their business by solving this part of the problem. So a brief glance at what the problem is. Now, every time there is a new catalog that you need to prepare and upload, right? Imagine if you're uploading this catalog on Amazon, Flipkart, Paytm, Myntra, and Jabong, right? Now, each of these marketplaces has a different set of requirements on how you publish this catalog to them. They have different import sheets, they have different categories under which these items will fall. There are different attributes that they need. So for maybe a shirt kind of an item, you might need, you might need 20 attributes to publish it on Flipkart, but Amazon may want 40 or 50. And some of them may be overlapping. So it's very confusing for anybody to fill in all those different sheets correctly and get it uploaded. And so it takes a humongous amount of data entry effort. And then when you're doing this manually, there are chances that you can do data entry errors, copy and paste errors. So obviously there is a huge effort required and there's a huge time also involved in this. Okay? We'll be looking at a solution which will help you to do this much faster and much more efficient, bringing down your costs, improving your overall margins, increasing your revenues. Talking about the automated catalog listing, at a high level, this gives you a snapshot of what we do essentially and the numbers that we talk about. So there are more than 6 million SKUs that we manage through this platform and 6 million SKUs that we have pushed to different marketplaces over the period of last 2 years. Okay? We are integrated with more than 40 marketplaces around the world. But if we talk specifically to India, we are linked to all the major marketplaces. That includes Myntra, Jabong, Flipkart, Amazon, Paytm, Tata Click, and also Wish and uh, Vunik. So we also, when we do this listing, there are a lot of categories that these items could fall under, right? Or there are a lot of categories that Amazon carries. But we currently don't do listing for all the categories on all the marketplaces. We have limited ourselves to the most frequently used categories in terms of the number of new SKUs created, right? So currently we support 25 plus categories on these platforms. So when we say that we have or we support 25 plus categories on these platforms, some of them are have more SKUs under these categories, and obviously that is the reason why they become part of our focus group. So anybody who's selling on fashion and fashion accessories, beauty and personal care, mobile and accessories, these are the top three focus categories for us. The simple reason for that being that most of the SKUs on a month-to-month basis are published under these categories. While you have a lot of SKUs or catalog under FMCG, but there are not a lot of new SKUs that are published in these categories. Right? That is why our focus is on categories where there are a number of new SKUs launched every month or every quarter. Now, even though there are a lot of new SKUs being launched, who is the what is the profile of somebody who will benefit from a tool like this? The tool is basically, as you can gather from what we've discussed so far, the tool is basically intended for anyone who has a lot of SKUs which need to be published on marketplaces. So, as a benchmark, what we've identified is anybody who's doing more than 100 SKUs a month. So, anybody who has more than 100 new styles that need to be published to about 3 or 4 marketplaces a month would need something like this to help them manage their catalog, help them to publish or scale this catalog to different platforms. Because if you have only about 10 or 12 or 15 items every month, this can be handled manually as well. But if you have about 100 SKUs and 4 marketplaces, that makes it 400 styles, along with the images and everything, it can become challenging to get this catalog uploaded in quick time. So if you take about 20 days to get this catalog uploaded, yes, it can be done manually. But if you want this to be done within one day, it is really not possible for this to be done by humans, essentially. So the kind of scenarios that we help you to overcome are essentially catalog upload issues. You fill in the sheet, you upload the sheet on the platform, you wait for the output, and then 2 hours later you get to know that certain SKUs have been rejected because either the values were not correctly mapped or certain mandatory attributes were not provided, or the image that you uploaded was not in the correct resolution, not hosted on the correct platform. So these are the kind of scenarios or kind of issues that we help you to overcome. So we look at the problem statement for our discussion today. So as we can see, there are 2 parts to the problem of catalog upload on marketplaces. Number one is content, the catalog content that you share on these platforms. The complexity therein lies in the different formats that each marketplace expects you to fill in. So if you are uploading a shirt on Myntra versus you're uploading it on Flipkart versus uploading it on Paytm and Amazon, there are different import templates. There are different categories under which these items would fall on different marketplaces. There are different terminologies. So Amazon might call something as, or might call gender as department, right? And Flipkart calls it gender. And then Amazon would classify it as men and women, whereas Flipkart might classify as male or female. So there are different attribute names, there are different attribute values, but they could still essentially be the same, right? So it's very difficult to identify who wants what. So what we have done is we have simplified this. We've created one simple master sheet for each category. And regardless of which marketplace you're trying to list on, you simply fill in one master sheet per category. You describe your item as best as you can. That master sheet will upload it onto the CMS panel, and then it will help you to publish this item or this catalog onto the different platforms in the terminology, in the format that those marketplaces understand. So the pain points here are, or the pain relievers here are simplified master data sheet for import. So you don't need to necessarily worry about what Amazon wants or what Paytm wants or Flipkart wants. You get one simple master sheet, you fill in that master sheet, you upload it on the platform. And at the end of it, you get a upload ready sheet for each specific marketplace. This in turn translates to faster go to market. This helps you to reduce your cost to prepare and upload this catalog because you don't need a team of 4 to 5 people, dedicatedly working on this catalog for a week maybe, right? And at other times when there is no new catalog, you have to look for other things for the team to do. Okay? And essentially, because you have reduced cost, because you have higher number of days where you can sell this item, you have a higher revenue, higher margin. Okay? Again, content is one thing. The second complexity around catalog upload is images. Different marketplaces want different size, different resolution. Some want it hosted on AWS, some want it hosted on Dropbox. These kind of complexities are not only difficult to understand and follow, they're also, if you make a mistake, it's very difficult to then go back and correct it again, right? Also, at times, if you're copying this image link from a Dropbox or a repository otherwise, There can be copy paste errors where you copy an image belonging to item A and map it to an item B, and nobody can catch these kinds of errors. So this platform will help you to streamline the images as per the marketplace requirements in terms of size, in terms of resolution, in terms of hosting, and they will eliminate any kind of manual copy paste errors. Also, we allow you to do differential pricing and promotion for each marketplace because different marketplaces have different commissions, different penalties, different returns rate. So obviously, there it makes sense to put a differential pricing on different marketplaces. Yeah. So I think we have a poll question after this. So let's take the poll question.
So we have a poll question and you have to answer it in the next 40 seconds. The question is, how do you recognize yourself? Please select one: brand distributor, catalog agency, seller on marketplaces, or a retailer. So the result is as displayed. Moving on to the next slide.
Thank you very much for that. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, the reason why we asked about the audience profile is because we realized that there's a specific target segment, who would benefit from this kind of tool. Now, who can benefit from a tool like this is brands who selling on multiple marketplaces across different geographies. So imagine if you have your own brand and you're selling on maybe 4 or 5 marketplaces in India, and you want to take this brand outside of India, right? You have ambitions to maybe grow your brand in Southeast Asia or even in the US or Middle East. Now, once you once you want to do this, the first thing that you would need is to get your catalog uploaded on these marketplaces. And there, that is where we help you in getting this catalog uploaded because we have already, we are already integrated, already connected to these platforms. The moment you want, you can simply get this marketplace or this platform configured in your panel, and you're ready to publish your existing catalog to these marketplaces. No new data entry required, no new catalog preparation required. You already have your catalog. All we need to do is configure this new marketplaces for your panel, and you'll be able to publish your catalog to those marketplaces. Okay. Catalog service providers. These are people who are providing cataloging as a service to different sellers and brands. The very fact that there are services or agencies like this, tells you that there's a lot of effort that goes into getting this catalog ready to upload on marketplaces. So much so that there are specific companies who are doing this for other people, right? And our tool can help companies like this to scale, to scale their revenue, to scale their margins and bring down their total cost, because eventually these people are not doing 100 or 300 SKUs a month. They're likely doing 10,000 SKUs a month for different brands, and filling in these sheets for Paytm, Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, for so many different sellers can be again a humongous task. And that is where the tool will help you. So the more number of SKUs or the more number of marketplaces you do, the higher you stand to gain from a tool like this. Okay. And again, brand distributors are people who are bringing in different brands from across other countries into a new geography. And again, the challenge is the same. You have to get this catalog ready to upload on marketplaces, and you're responsible ultimately for the sales of these brands that you're bringing in. You are also likely holding inventory in your premises, right, or in a 3PL warehouse. So the longer that inventory sits in that warehouse while the catalog is waiting to be published, the higher your cost for holding that inventory, the lower your margins on the eventual sales, right? So for all of these people, it makes great sense to get this catalog uploaded as soon as possible so that your sales can start to happen immediately. I think we have a poll question again, so let's take that.
So the poll question is, Are you looking for catalog management solutions for your business? Please select yes, no, or maybe. You have 40 seconds. So the result is being displayed. 36% have said yes, 16% said no, and 48% are agreeing on maybe. Moving on to the next slide.
Thanks again. So this here is a brief demo of what we do. This is a very high level demo, but this tells you all essentially what you will need to do when you're using a platform such as ours. So there'll be a panel that we will create for you, and you will operate this panel yourself. You will have access to your content 24/7. You can also share your catalog with partners that you want. For example, your marketing agencies or anything, right? So let's take a look at this. So once you log in, okay, now you go to this tab. There are, if you look at this, there are different, you select a import template to download. Okay, sorry, I think we went back and it's restarted, but let's take a look at it again. So you select an import template to download. There are multiple categories over here, and you can choose. These are all the categories that we have, cataloging available for. As you can see, we've divided fashion into a lot of different categories: bottoms, dresses, innerwear, footwear. And similarly, you will have subcategories under health and beauty, under home furnishing and accessories, under electronics and baby care, right? So you select the appropriate category for which you want to publish your content and download an import sheet. I think we okay. Some problem with the video. I'll just skip to the part. Okay, so we were here. So you download the template and you fill in the template like this. Okay. So this is essentially data entry into the master sheet. Obviously, you will have to do the data entry once at least. Okay. You fill in all the attributes. This sheet will tell you what are the attributes that are mandatory, what are the attributes that are optional. And for mandatory attributes or even for optional ones, there will be drop downs which will be available for you. You can fill in those attributes and upload this sheet back into the system. When you upload this sheet, if all SKUs are successfully processed, you will get to know, the count of successfully processed records. If any SKUs fail a validation, for example, their value is outside of the allowed values, you'll get the relevant error message. Okay? So these are all the items that are uploaded, and once the catalog has been uploaded, you can see that along with the images that you provided, and you can map them to multiple marketplaces. So for example, over here, we are mapping this to Myntra, and in similar fashion, this can be mapped to other marketplaces as well, like Paytm and other marketplaces. So your catalog is mapped to a marketplace. You can now take and export for this catalog. So all you have to do essentially is to upload your sheet and map the SKUs to a marketplace. And now you can take marketplace specific exports. You can filter this by brand, you can filter this by date range, or you can filter this by any other criteria like a list of SKUs. Okay. So now your catalog is processed. You can download this sheet, you can open it, and you see this is the output of your catalog, your content in Myntra format. As you can see, for example, certain values which we transform, right? So those values are correctly portrayed in the terminology in the format that Myntra understands. Similarly, you can take a form and export for Flipkart, let's say. So similar item, similar category. We first looked at export for Myntra. Now we are looking at export for Flipkart. And the output will be in Flipkart format in the terminology that Flipkart understands. Again, we've configured an export, and this is the Flipkart format. And again, you can see that all the values that you filled in here, you filled in navy blue. Flipkart doesn't understand navy blue, so we translated this to which is closest possible to what Flipkart understands. Okay, fit is comfort here, fit is relaxed here. Okay, because Flipkart doesn't have comfort, it has relaxed. Amazon might have comfort, so you filled in comfort. So you don't have to necessarily remember what goes on Amazon, what goes on Myntra, what goes on Flipkart. We will do that for you. All you have to do is fill in your catalog to the best possible, uh, detail. So again, this is in Amazon format. So what you essentially did was you filled in one master sheet, and the system gave you. So what was L in the master sheet is large for Amazon. Department women goes to target gender women or female. Okay. So everything is mapped accordingly. The images that you provided are also output to the respective channels. Okay. And then this also serves as a digital repository of your catalog. Tomorrow, if you want to share this for a new product launch with the marketing team, this becomes your, ready repository. You share a panel access with them. They're able to download the content. They're able to take the images from here and prepare the campaigns for you. Right? That's an additional benefit here. Yeah. So this was about the brief overview of the solution. Uh, we have a poll question, and then we are open to questions from the audience.
So the poll question is, do you also need solutions to many of these business problems? The options are order and inventory management, warehousing and fulfillment, payment, payment reconciliation, master degree management, and cross-border e-commerce. We have 40 seconds. And we have the answers. So 19% have chosen order and inventory management, 21% have gone with warehousing and fulfillment, 17% has opted for payment reconciliation, 23% has gone for master degree management, and 21% are thinking about cross-border e-commerce.
Thank you very much for your feedback. We really value this. We are now ready for questions from the audience, and feel free to please ask anything that you might have.
So now we have some questions.
Mhm.
So the first question, Mr. Jain, is which are the major marketplaces integrated with your product?
So we have integrations with more than 40 plus marketplaces across the globe. And every territory, every region has certain leading marketplaces that we obviously offer integrations to. So if we talk about India, let's say, then we are integrated with Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, and Jabong, Paytm, Tata Click. These are all there. In addition, we have ShopClose, we have LimeRoad, we have Woonik, we have Wish. Okay? So these are the set of marketplaces that we offer for India, and our solution is extensible. So if there is a marketplace, or if there is a niche marketplace like Pepperfry or Zivame, for example, that you might want us to support, we can do that. Onboarding a new marketplace is not very difficult. Similarly, in Southeast Asia, we are integrated with JD, we are integrated with Lazada, Zalora, Matahari Mall, Robbins, Shopee, Q10. So there are a host of marketplaces that we support in Southeast Asia, the leading ones. Similarly, in Amazon, we are integrated with, in US, we are integrated with Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Jet. In Middle East, we are integrated with Souk and Wadi. Okay. So it depends. There are region-specific integrations, and whenever we, let's say, offer these integrations within a region, we select the top, 4 to 5 marketplaces at least before we, roll out this solution to that marketplace or to that region. Next question.
So we are moving on to the next question now. So
Mhm.
what is the scope of supply chain management in terms of near technological future?
So, see, in terms of supply chain management, that's slightly off track for this. We are talking about catalog listing, but if you talk about, or if you specifically want to know about supply chain management, we have our own order management and inventory management solution, which also integrate with logistic partners, which integrate with route management or route planning solutions. So anybody who's planning to, let's say, manage their own warehouse and do e-commerce within India or within this geography and cross border can leverage a platform like ours, which is again connected to the various different players that complete the whole ecosystem. Like I said, so you'll have integrations with transporters, you'll have integrations with route planning systems, which will help you to efficiently manage and manage your inventory and your supply chains.
All right, we have another question. Does the input to this master file still needs to be manual? Are there any actions taken to automate?
Correct. That's a very good question, and I'm glad that somebody brought this up. So there are two parts to this. See, essentially, input has to be provided. So manual input is obviously required. Now, you might ask, what is the benefit if we have to do manual input? The difference here is that if you're doing this outside of the software, then you'll have to prepare one master sheet for Amazon, one for Flipkart, one for Myntra. As many marketplaces as you have, you will have to fill in that amount of worksheets. Whereas we limit this to one single master sheet for each category. So if you want to publish an item on 5 different marketplaces, you still have to fill in only one sheet. That's one thing. So we are reducing your data entry by 5x. That's one thing. Second thing, a lot of things can be defaulted or automated here. So what happens is, let's say, Mintra, for example, whenever you are publishing an item on Mintra, if it's an apparel, along with the size and the fit, you also need to give the shoulder width, the chest width, the waist dimensions, and all of those things. Those all can be defaulted or can be rule based in our system. So the moment you specify that my item is a relaxed fit, small size, right, and gender female, we have a size chart that will default the dimensions for shoulder, dimensions for chest, dimensions for waist. So these kind of attributes can be rule based, and you don't have to necessarily enter them every time. So there is we do reduce data entry, and of course we do reduce data entry errors also, but still the catalog, some part of the catalog will have to be manually filled.
So another question is, Myntra has many more tags for individual items. Are all of them
Correct.
entered by seller or they generate it?
So if we look at Myntra master sheet, right? Let's say you are listing a footwear item on Myntra. They will have different sheets for flip flops, sandals, sports shoes, formal shoes. They'll have different sheets, but you don't need to fill in different sheets. We have one sheet for footwear. When you fill in that sheet, you specify whether your item is a sandal or flip flop or formal shoe or casual shoe. It's one sheet, and you can fill in all your items in one sheet for footwear. When we output this to Myntra, we will fill in 4 different sheets, and you'll get your output in 4 different sheets, part of one Excel sheet. Okay? So you still have to only fill in one sheet.
So Mr. Jain, we have another question, which is how can we decrease manual hours and increase ROI through it?
Right. So, see, like I mentioned, if somebody is only listing on one marketplace, so if you are a seller who's only selling on Amazon, this probably may not be of relevance to you as of today, because you eventually will have to fill in one master sheet. But the moment you say that you're still, selling on Flipkart as well as Myntra as well as Paytm, Tata Click, the more marketplaces that you want to sell on, that is where our tool will help you to reduce the data. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're selling on 5 marketplaces, you're filling in only one master sheet, so that therein reduces your total effort by 5 times. That's one thing. Second thing, uh, there are a lot of things that we automate. So for example, if your image photo shoot has been done and is on a Dropbox repository or on a Google Drive, you don't have to copy and paste the links for those photographs in the master sheet. We will fetch the images from your Google Drive, from your Dropbox. So you just tell us where on the Dropbox is your image folder located. We will map the images with each item and get all the angles, map them correctly to each SKU. So that again reduces your data entry. Number one, reduces the copy and paste errors. And these errors can be very difficult to catch. So example, you have an item A and an item B. Both of them have images on that folder, right? If somebody is manually copying and pasting those links against item A and item B for the different angles, they can very easily, make a mistake, copy an image link and paste it to the wrong item, right? And this kind of mistake can never be captured. Once it gets published on the marketplace, perhaps you're selling item A, but the image that it points to is item B, right? And maybe the customer buys the item, and when he eventually gets it, he sees that it's a whole different item that he's getting, which can again then escalate into returns and then those kind of scenarios. We, on the other hand, what we'll do is you have your catalog, you tell us where the images are on the repository. We will pull the images from that repository, map it against this item automatically. This helps you in two ways. It reduces data entry, it reduces the time required to do that data entry, and it eliminates any kind of copy paste errors that might have otherwise resulted. So, yes, there is a lot of effort that this tool will save you.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. The another question is, let's say we are talking about apparel. So we need
Mhm.
to get model photo shoots, and will you be taking care of the model photo shoots as well?
So we are solely a tech platform. We do not do cataloging services per se, and that is where we complement catalog solution providers because they would be the services partner and we could be the technology partner. So you will still have to get your catalog photo shoot done. You will still have to do the data entry for the master sheet. And if you want to outsource that, we can probably recommend a few partners to you. You can select whichever one you like, but this will still be done outside of the tech solution. We will only be the tech services partner.
So, Mr. Jain, another question is that do you
Mhm.
cover international marketplaces like US, Canada, Italy, and others?
So the beauty of this solution is that it can be extended to any marketplace that supports bulk upload in Excel formats. So while we do not cover Italy and Canada at this point of time, but there is no limitation or restriction that we cannot. Okay, we do cover US marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Walmart, and Jet, and we can bring more. We can cover more marketplaces. For Canada and European marketplaces, again, there is no restriction, like I said, but we at the moment only cover Amazon across these marketplaces. We can extend to other marketplaces.
So, Mr. Jain, the next question is how easy or difficult is it to go live on a new marketplace?
Okay, so it is very easy to go live on a new marketplace, but let me put that into perspective. Let's say tomorrow your catalog is already live on Amazon and eBay, right? And tomorrow you want to probably also get this catalog uploaded on Walmart. Now, since we already cover Walmart, it will not be an additional effort for you. What you will, however, need to do is if there are any attributes that Walmart needs for a particular item which Amazon and eBay did not, and you have not provided values for that, then you'll have to provide additional values. So, which is a nominal effort. Again, to take an example, let's say you're a footwear seller, right? You sell shoes and you filled in the master sheet according to what Amazon and eBay wants. Now, there is a new attribute which Walmart wants, which Amazon and eBay perhaps do not want, which could be maybe, inner material. What is the material inside the shoe, right? This is an attribute which Amazon and eBay do not want, but Walmart wants, and it's a mandatory item there. So while your catalog is already uploaded on the tool, this is an additional attribute that you'll have to fill in, and then this catalog can be pushed to Walmart. For marketplaces that we currently do not support, you will have to let us know that you are looking to sell on these platforms. We do not charge you for any new marketplaces to prepare. Our charges are simply for the number of marketplaces and the number of categories that you sell on. So if you are looking to sell on a new marketplace, just let us know. We will configure that marketplace in our panel, and you can then start selling on that or start publishing your catalog to that marketplace.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. The next question is can you scrape information from other sources on the web or any other database to reduce the manual effect, at least for certain categories?
So this will have to be, there is no generic answer for this. Yes, we can fetch information from other panels, but we will need to know what panel we are talking about, what are the complexities involved, and that will generally be, depends on whether the requirement is a generic requirement which will benefit the product and enrich the product. Yes, we can do that. If it's a very custom requirement from a customer who is looking at a very specific use case, we will take it on a case to case basis. But in terms of feasibility, yes, it's possible.
So, Mr. Jain, also now marketplaces ask for specific image links. Will you
Mhm.
convert in specific formats?
Yes, so the only thing that we do not do in image processing is background color change. We cannot convert the white images to gray background and vice versa. But anything other than that, we will do for you. The resolution, the size, and the hosting of that image and posting of the image link to the marketplace, all of that will be done by us.
So, Mr. Jain, the next question is, to automap images, will you require images in a
Mhm.
certain domain?
So to automap images, what we need essentially is you'll tell us where on the Dropbox folder or Google Drive, where are the images located, and then the images should be following a specific naming convention. So if your SKU code is, let's say, ABC001, we expect the images to be named with the SKU code ABC001 hyphen 1 hyphen 2 hyphen 3 so that we can map which is angle 1, which is angle 2, which is angle 3 for this SKU. So the mapping, essentially the naming convention is what drives this mapping, and the images should be named as per the item code.
So, this is the last question, Mr. Jain. What if the image are not in Drive or Dropbox, but are in the hard drive? Then, what is the solution for such images?
So we don't currently read information from your hard drive. I would recommend that you simply, take a Dropbox account that's freely available and upload these images on a Dropbox, and we can fetch it from there. Dropbox free account has limited storage, so once your images have been pulled in from Dropbox, you can remove those images, and whenever a new season or a new collection comes in, again follow the same process.
Well, with this, we conclude today's webinar. I would like to thank Mr. Sachin Jain for sharing his insightful knowledge with us. Thank you everyone for joining us on the webinar today. Till we meet again, keep reading ET Retail.
Thank you very much for all those who participated. Thank you, ET, for facilitating this. Good day.